So if I'm trying to get my body to do something and we're on the verge of an episode or we're starting into an episode, I have to remind my body that, hey, you're capable of this. Like if I'm going down or up some stairs or something and I get wobbly halfway through, you're capable of this. You already did those 7, so let's do these 6. And does it always work? No. No. But does it help? Absolutely.
Have you tried yoga? Maybe you should see a psychiatrist. Are you stressed? Change your diet. Acupuncture. Try stretching. Sleep? You've been doing so well. Stop stressing. Anxiety. Functional? Functionality.
Functionality. Functionality.
So today I just want to talk about how do I get through my episodes? Like, how have I gotten from the point where I am like on the floor and having constant episodes? Like, I can't even call it like a flare. It was just like that was the way of life at the time. How do I go from the point where I am just like struggling, like living on this 6-foot beanbag, to the point where now like I passed my MLO exam, I'm back in the gym, I am like able to get up and go pretty much when I want to, and I can kind of dictate the things that I know that I can do and am going to be successful doing, and then I can kind of ration my spoons. So how do I do that? Well, I want to first kind of start and say, like, what is an episode? So for me, because I know a lot of people call them episodes, people call them flares, people call them all sorts of different things. They can mean, what is an episode to me? Because my definition of an episode is probably going to be different from other people's. So I guess this will be helpful for me so that people know what is it when I talk about it, or when I say I had an episode versus a flare. Hi, Rachel. What does it mean? So for me, it's like an episode is I would say, kind of extended period of symptoms. So I have symptoms all the time. That's one thing that people with chronic illness want everybody to know, all the people to know, is that our symptoms never just like go away. We don't wake up and I'm like completely symptom free. Look at me. That has never happened. Since I began being chronically ill, I have not had an experience like that. So our symptoms never go away. But when we have like a baseline, so we learn what our baseline is, which is like, these are my normal symptoms. These are the symptoms, and this is the amount of pain that I'm usually in. This is the normal for me. But then we have like increases in symptoms, and for me, I call those episodes if I have like periods of where I used to call them tremors, but more so now it's this like I have more so like tics, and then it's like myoclonus, which is like seizure-like activity, but it's definitely not a seizure. I don't call them seizures. For me, they're not seizures, but somebody else might call them some type of non-epileptic seizure or whatever, what have you, but that's not my choice of term to use. However, I have like myoclonus, which is a seizure-like activity. So that would be an episode for me. So I usually have them like at night, at bedtime, for whatever reason. Like, I guess I've been holding it in throughout the day, sitting in positions like this. So like, I know that I'm taking a gamble, or I know that I'm risking going into an episode after this live, but that's kind of like, that's the risks we have to take, or the sacrifices that we have to make being chronically ill to continue to like live our lives. But so for me, I have those are episodes for me. So it'll be maybe, I would say 30 minutes max is an episode. But if I'm going into something that's like 24 hours long, where it's just like episode after episode, or my fatigue is like constant, or I lose my legs, which is like when I can't walk anymore, then that's a flare. So what I'm talking about today is just how I get through my episodes. So at this point now, I have had, or I don't like to say I have it, but I've been dealing with FND symptoms for about 3 years. No, literally, that would be a dream, to wake up to no symptoms. I know. But I've been dealing with symptoms for about 3 years now. So September. I got diagnosed September of 2020. So what a fun COVID time it was for me. I wasn't dealing with COVID. I was dealing with something way different. But, so I've really learned my symptoms. I've learned what it feels like when certain symptoms are coming. I've learned what my triggers are, or I guess you can say I've learned what overloads me, because that's a kind of a better way to say it, because trigger is kind of a stigmatized word because it has to do generally with mental health, but for me it literally feels like a trigger. Like, I do this happens to me, that is a trigger, but we can call it like what overloads my sensory system. And so I've learned what does that, and so I've learned how to ration out my spoons. And it's an art, and I fail sometimes, and I'm going to continue to fail, I'm sure. But I've learned how to ration my spoons to the point that, like, I'm usually, like, running close to E by the end of the day, but I made it. And so, like, the other day, actually, so my daughter was gone. I have a soon-to-be 9-year-old daughter. But my daughter was gone all summer, and so she came back, and so I've had to adjust how I ration out my spoons. And so for that first week there, it's a little rocky, and so I actually ran out of spoons one day, and I could feel myself at like 7:30 p.m. just like starting to tremble, and my gait was getting funky, and my legs were just really weak, and I was like, I need to sit down, and just feeling like I couldn't, like, was brain foggy and everything. And so I was like, dang, I haven't run out of spoons like in a long time. So I actually ran out. So I mismanaged my spoons, and that happens because you don't live the same exact day over and over and over. And so you're never going to know, being someone who's chronically ill, you're never going to be able to have it perfect every single day. But if you learn who you are, learn what activities you do, and how many spoons they take. I literally, one time I tried to do spoon math, and I tried to like see, okay, if I sleep this many hours, then do I gain this many spoons? And then if I eat, I gain this many spoons. But it was impossible because it changes every single day. So I was like, okay, spoon math, can't do it. You can get like a general idea of what your spoons are and how you divide them during the day, but like, it's never going to be a perfect equation because, again, that would be a perfect world. And anybody who's a spoonie knows we don't really live in a perfect world. So I have learned to ration out my spoons. That's the number one thing I do to avoid episodes. So if I don't ration my spoons right, like I did the other day, how do I get through my episodes? So the very first thing that I always do is that I have to recognize that my nervous system is being flooded. Because if I don't recognize that it's being flooded, then I'm going to miss all those signs, and I'm going to throw myself into more of an episode or into a flare when I could have stopped it at the beginning. So I have to first recognize that my nervous system is being flooded and quickly make it my focus to decrease the stimulation, whatever is overstimulating me. So currently, this light above me is like, I already know that I don't have much time with this light. It's great. The lighting is awesome. But for my nervous system, it's not working out very well. So that's something that I have noticed. I've been on some like support group calls lately and some different Zooms and things like that. And I've noticed that I can't even take this lighting. So it's difficult with the goals and stuff that I have because I would like to do more speaking and I would like to, go to more events and things. But the lighting is a really big overload for me. It overloads me very quickly. So I'm going to work on having more natural lighting. But so what I do, so noticing that. So right now I should decrease this light so that I can decrease the stimulation. If there was noise in the room right now, I would try to decrease that. So I have to first recognize that my nervous system is being overloaded and decrease the stimulation. So whatever is overloading. So my family has become really good at understanding when I am defeated. So that's like the word is like, oh, are you defeated? Or like, how, like they'll be like, you're running out of spoon, you're running out of steam. And I'm like, yeah. So they know that. And then they kind of leave me alone. Or if I just go to the room and stay there for 15, 20, 25 minutes to try to get a little bit of energy back, a little half a spoon back so that I can finish out the day, they understand that. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I hadn't over time really recognized what overloads me and really stayed in tune. I did a whole episode before on the podcast about listening to my body because it's really just that important that you have to be able to learn to listen to your body. Listening to your body is not just like oh, I have to use the bathroom. Oh, I'm hungry. Oh, I'm sleepy. It's listening to your body when it's telling you it doesn't like something. It's listening to your body when it tells you I'm too hot, I'm too cold, I don't like the energy that's in this room, or like I need to get out of this place, or I need to turn down the noise that I'm hearing. You have to listen to your body, because I mean your brain is inside of your body. So that is a part of listening to your body, is listening to what your brain is trying to tell you. Because at the end of the day, your brain is what is telling your body what to do. So you guys have to be best friends. That is a thing that I have like really learned, is I have to become best friends with my brain. Even if it doesn't listen to me sometime, you know, that's okay, because I'm stubborn sometimes as well. So I have to listen to my brain. We have to be best friends. And when it comes to decreasing stimulation, a big thing for me is shoes and socks. So whenever I'm feeling that, hopefully I'm not like in a place, but I take my shoes off and I can't stay in socks. That is just a big thing for me. And so like if I've been out, so even if I go on dates, then as soon as we get back in the car, I take my shoes off, because it's a way to like, okay, this is not constraining me. It's less stimulation. It just takes it down a notch. So that is just like one of those things. I wonder if anybody else feels that way about shoes and socks. I'm pretty curious. Then the second thing is like almost at the same time as I'm trying to decrease the stimulation, then I'm also giving myself like positive self-talk and internal encouragement to remind myself like, hey, I'm in control. I understand and I recognize that I'm being told that I am overstimulated right now. You know, thank you, body, for telling me that you're overstimulated. We're going to get through this. Or like, I'm only going to be in this situation for 5 more minutes. We can totally handle this. Or like, sometimes it happens while I'm driving, because I do drive. And so I have to, oh my gosh, I have to do positive self-talk with myself when I'm driving so much. Like the whole time. Either I'm singing or it's positive self-talk. Most of the time it's both, because driving is so stimulating. And so I have to tell myself like, hey, we've got 5 more minutes and then we'll be there. Okay, 2 more lights and then we'll be there. You're doing a great job. You know, like, hey, you're fine. You know that your body is completely capable of making this happen. You know that you can do this. And so at the same time as I'm like turning the radio down, I'm telling myself, you can do this. You can drive. You're going to get there. You've gotten there before and felt worse. So that's the things I do just to remind myself, like, we can do this. So that's step 1 and 2 kind of intermingled at the same time. And then I'm affirming the task or thing that I'm doing is fully within my capabilities. That is the thing that's so important to me, is that because I know that nothing shows up on like tests that are run, nothing shows up on our blood work, x-rays, CTs, all the works, we all know it, nothing shows up there. That tells me my body is okay enough to complete the tasks that I want it to complete. Is it fine and completely okay? No, but I know that I can. I know that the capability is there. There will have to be some rewiring. There will have to be some encouraging. There will have to be some relearning. But I know that the capability of my body doing those things is there. So if I'm trying to get my body to do something and we're on the verge of an episode or we're starting into an episode, I have to remind my body that, hey, you're capable of this. Like if I'm going down or up some stairs or something and I get wobbly halfway through, you're capable of this. You already did those 7, so let's do these 6. And does it always work? No. But does it help? Absolutely. And so I'm just sharing some of my tips with you. Not to say these are like, I'm not giving a prescription. I'm not giving any sort of real medical advice. I'm just chatting about how I personally get through episodes, because I feel like it's helpful. Sometimes, you know, you read the carousels and you see different things online, but it's kind of helpful just to hear someone say it, like give examples of what they've been through and to hear someone say it. I would have liked that when I was first starting out. So that's what I'm doing here. And then my third thing that I have to do, breathing. You have to breathe through it, because, and like just pay attention, be super mindful of your breath, or I'm super mindful of my breath when I'm going through episodes. So if I've gotten to the point where now like I'm literally twitching and ticking, I have to breathe. and I'm breathing. And so internal self-talk at the same time that I'm breathing and letting myself know you are going to be fine. You are feeling this. This is a real feeling, but you are in control of this body. And so it's, you know, it's difficult because it's like, hey, I feel this, and you can get all wigged out about like, well, why is this happening, and get like stuck in the moment of, this is crazy because I didn't ask for this. I don't want my body to be moving like this. All I was trying to do was squat, or all I was trying to do was walk down a flight of stairs, or all I was trying to do was whatever you're trying to do, and it doesn't make any sense why your body is doing that. And so you're like, well, I'm broken. But at the same time, like, you're not broken. You just have to do some rewiring. And so the whole thing is to rewire and to reteach your brain, like, yo, we're good. We are so good. You got this. And it's not overnight. I'm literally at year 3. And I feel like I'm just now starting to see, like, recognizable progress. And so it's not going to be overnight. And it's not even something that has been easy. Like, literally, the amount of times that I have been like, this is so dumb, I don't deserve this. That is fine. Like, everybody's gonna say that. Everybody's gonna feel that way. But it's all about just, like, getting up the next day and trying again. We are warriors at the end of the day. I actually love the term because I really do feel like one. I've always felt like one. But it really, like, it's not for the weak. And so I think anybody who's chronically ill has some sort of a different kind of strength in them, has some sort of a different purpose in them, and is here to show people, like, we can do this. And no, it's not fair. It's not fair. But me sitting in my sadness, that doesn't help any of my episodes. So that's not something that I do. I breathe through it for as long as it takes. And sometimes I have to, like, close my eyes, and I'm breathing for like 15, 20 minutes. And so, like, I can get sidetracked when it's not working. And I can be like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm breathing. I did my positive self-talk. I decreased the stimulation. How come this episode isn't stopping? Sometimes it's just too much. And that has to be understood, because the more I get overwhelmed and the more I get frustrated with that while I'm experiencing it, the worse that my episode is going to get. Like, that's been proven to me. Over these last few years, it's been proven. Like, as soon as I start to well up and cry and try to, like, say this doesn't make any sense and I feel bad for myself, then I'm shaking even worse, and now I'm nauseous, and now my legs are going. And so then I have to be like, yo, get your life together. I have to calm myself down, because I recognize now, like, I feel like my overreacting or my reaction to these symptoms is making these symptoms worse. And that's what I've noticed. So, those are the 4 things that I do. And then, I would say that was the 3. The 4th thing is that almost nothing else matters at that time. So, as long as you're safe, if you are, like, by yourself or, like, sitting in a safe place, almost nothing else matters at that point. So people coming and being like, are you okay? Do you need this? Do you need that? You have to have, like, a plan. If you are a person who goes out and, like, people are going to be around people who don't understand, you have to be able to know what kind of a plan you're going to have if you go into an episode, if you go into a seizure, if you fall down, anything like that. Because that is just more stimulation. People coming to you and being like, are you good? Are you good? So again, like, my family, they just don't do that. If I tell them, like, I just need a moment, then they just kind of scatter. They have learned that. So if you have to order one of those, like, bracelets off of Amazon or something like that, that will be helpful, because you have to, like, be able to come into yourself, because your body is shouting at you to say, I need you. I need you right now. Whatever you're doing is not good. Whatever you're doing is too much for your body at that time. So it has to shout. That episode, I think about it as, that's my body shouting at me, help me. It's shouting and saying, give me the attention that you're giving everything else out here, because you're not paying attention to me. And so that's something, one of the biggest things that I have had to really face as a reality is that part of me dealing with or having to get through everything I have to with FND is listening and saying, like, okay, I'm going to listen to you, body. I hear you. And like, not just I hear you, but I'm going to respond to you. Because some people could be like, yeah, man, every time I eat cheese, my stomach hurts, but whatever, I love cheese. And it's like, that's your body talking to you. That's your body telling you, hey, I don't love it. I don't really love it. And so that's something that I've been so, like, my ears are like hyper aware now of what my body is trying to tell me. Then the fifth thing, if all of those things aren't working, the fifth thing that I'm doing is I am really honing in and really focusing on my vagus nerve. That is something that helps your autonomic nervous system, and it really, if you reset that can kind of calm down and help out your nervous system. So singing, anytime I'm driving, I have to be singing. I am singing or talking to my daughter, but generally I'm singing, because that's the only way that like my brain and my nervous system can work in accord to get me to the location I'm trying to get to. I have to sing. So like, I love to sing, you guys. I can't really sing that good, but I love to sing. Almost any and everything. I can turn anything to a song. Like, I could sing about this puzzle right now, but I won't. But I'm always singing and humming. That's another thing. Also, I learned recently that gargling. So it's just about like getting that movement in the back of your throat. I'm not a medical doctor, but getting that movement in the back of your throat helps to reset that vagus nerve. So also, I do a forced yawn sometimes, and that helps to just kind of like get that air in that you need to get in and kind of just reset you and bring you back to where you need to be. Dancing, just movement of your body, movement of your limbs. So like sometimes I'll have like twitches of my fingers and my toes and legs and stuff. So then I'll like do something, a competing movement, so that your body can't do the movement that it was trying to do by itself. Do an intentional movement so that your brain has to jump to like, oh wait, we're doing this now. So if my fingers are twitching, I'll clap. So my hands can't do that. If like my arm is coming up, I'll do something where like, okay, now we're gonna like do this or something like that. So that I just take that whole pathway that was trying to run without me, and I grab it and I put it on a pathway that I was intending for it to do. And that, in a nutshell, is neuroplasticity and rewiring your brain. Shout out to Reactive PT, because I really have learned a lot from them on just what you can do and how you can rewire your brain. So vagus stimulation, vagus nerve reset. I also drink a lot of tea and all those herbs in there that are good for your vagus nerve. Passion flower, valerian, astragalus, ashwagandha. I take an ashwagandha supplement that helps like just to decrease your like stress level, keep you calm, cool, and collected. Peppermint, lavender, all those nice and like harmonious type of herbs are pretty good for your vagus nerve. And then standing outside with bare feet. The energy from the ground is actually very healing. So sometimes I can feel my legs start to tingle, and I'll just go stand outside on the ground with bare feet. It's better on grass than concrete, even though the grass is kind of icky, whatever. But standing outside with bare feet is really healing. And it is something that I actually find, it's like meditative. So I kind of meditate outside, and I love being outside. Everybody's different, but I love being outside. I love the sun so much. So that's something that I do to kind of, when I feel the tingles coming, when I feel the fatigue coming, to reset myself, I'll hop outside, stand outside, not with my phone most of the time. I'll just stand there, take in the nature, and just allow the energy to shift. Allow the negative energy to go into the ground, and allow the positive energy to come in from the ground and from the sun into my body. And so, like, you have to really receive it. I'm like, you guys, I really love, like, the outside, and I'm all about energy and holistic healing and stuff like that, because our bodies have everything we need inside of us already. And so if you really just believe that it is trying to talk to you, and believe that you can heal yourself if you listen to it and you learn to communicate with it, then things can change. And so then my sixth thing I do is I visualize myself calming down. So if nothing else is working, then that's when I have to close my eyes and really visualize, like, okay, I can see me being calm. I can see this not hurting. I can see me not tremoring. I can see this. I can see that I'm breathing through this. And so like sometimes I try to see my nervous system like flowing smoothly instead of all glitchy. And so that helps. So visualize yourself calming down. And then my last thing is I have this tick tamer. I ordered this off Amazon. It's literally called Tick Tamer. And it controls involuntary ticks and jerking, and it's just these liquid drops. It's almost gone because I used to have to use this thing like a few times a week. I don't use it that much now, but that's like my last ditch effort. If all else has failed, or if the episode is just so strong, because sometimes my jerks are so hard that it hurts. Like I can jerk my neck back and I can just fall all over the place. I'm sure everybody knows who's kind of seeing this. But so if it's a bad episode, if the jerks are really hard, or if I'm just like too fatigued and it's just like I can't even do the visualization, I can't do the breathing anymore, I can't do it, then I'll take the tick tamer. And I also have this other thing, it's called it's Unhoney, and it has CBD in it, and both of these, like within 10 minutes my whole body is like, oh. But it's not like a painkiller, or it's not a muscle relaxer, because I try to stay away from all the things that Big Pharma has for me. Just no thanks. So those are the things I do. I'm gonna go over them one more time. Recognize my nervous system is flooded and decrease the stimulation is the number one thing I do. Then positive self-talk and internal conversation, letting myself know that like you are okay, we're going to get through this, you've done it before, your body is capable. That's a big thing. The third thing is breathing for as long as it takes, breathing through it. So if you're closing your eyes because that's decreasing the stimulation, then also breathing through it, just like belly breathing, not like a hyperventilating, like a I'm okay, I can do this. That was like the inhale, exhale. And that's almost what the mantra that I go through in my head. I'm like, we're calming down. You're doing great. So it's almost like that. It's almost like a rhythm. And so that's the third thing. Then almost nothing matters at that time except for you listening to what your body's telling you. Hone all the way in. Try to drown out everything. Decrease whatever you can decrease as far as stimulation when you're feeling those feelings, because that's the quickest way to respond to what your body's trying to do. It is really screaming and saying, hello, hello, hello. Do you hear me? I'm trying to tell you something. And so if you say, yes, I'm focusing in now, I hear you, what do you need from me? Then that's the fourth thing. Then if that still doesn't work, then resetting your vagus nerve as best as you can, singing, dancing, humming, gargling, all those things I mentioned, and then visualizing myself calming down. Because if I'm only focusing on the fact that my legs don't work, then they won't work. But if I focus on the fact that, hey, these legs work, they were working 5 minutes ago, I bet they'll be working in another 5 minutes, but at this moment, we're having a little difficulty. But let me visualize myself calming down, visualize, it's like graded motor imagery in a sense. So it's visualizing, this is what I'm trying to do, this is what I'm trying to accomplish, and that almost every time works. But if all else fails, then I do use the tick tamer. So if you guys want a link to, or I'll put it in my story about what the tick tamer is, I'll just take like a picture of the Amazon link, and that's it. So that's how I get through my stories, and I'm so excited to be back here and just chatting with you guys and just sharing any tips that I have, just sharing my experience and my journey with FND, because I feel a little bit like on the front end of it, because I'm like right there when it really started to increase, but it was like I was already doing my own research and kind of realizing like, okay, this is like not curable, but this is like fixable. This is like, I can live with this. I can learn how to not have this run my life. And so once I did that, everything is starting to change. It's starting to come into alignment, and I'm very excited. So I'm so super excited to reconnect with you guys, and I'm probably going to be doing these like every week. And if anyone has any questions or wants to share with me how you get through your episodes or anything like that, let me know, and I'll talk to you soon. This has been Functionality. Bye-bye.